I'm Joshua Adams, and this is the Industry Insights Podcast, where I am joined in the Rock Paper Simple studio by community leaders as we dive into industry topics and perspectives. Thanks for joining us today. Today I have Brian Spencer with Shelter Mortgage. He has a fun personal brand as the Mortgage Money Man and also has a passion for fashion that has developed another personal brand of Spencer Bespoke Clothier. So today we're going to be chatting a bit about fashion, how it impacts branding, how it impacts your personal and professional life, how you feel. And so Brian, would you tell us a little bit about where that passion first started?
Absolutely, Joshua. Thanks for having me here today. You know, fashion really started back when I was in elementary school. My parents, used to dress me up sharp with the golden fleece from Brooks Brothers. From that point on, I was a golfer, was in the country club kind of lifestyle there. And as a golfer, you've got to dress the part. You're hanging out with a lot of, older professionals. Got to always tuck your shirt in type of thing. And I played college golf. And after that, I actually went to work for Sherwin-Williams, so a paint manufacturer. And I got fascinated with color, how color trends with clothing. And maybe from my mother back in the day, I was always a shopper, always looking for a bargain, always looking for a deal, going to pro shops, going to outlet malls. And it's just a part of me.
Now, you recently decided, hey, and your day job is mortgages.
It is,
right?
Yep.
Right.
Mortgage Money Man.
Right.
With Shelter Mortgage. I'm
right.
a licensed loan originator.
And then somewhere along the line, you said, I'm going to do this thing on the side, right? And so what was the impetus for that? What kickstarted that? Why do something like that?
I love to shop.
Mm-hmm.
I've hung out in men's stores, whenever we travel, and I love to travel. Would always go to all the nice men's stores, check out, see what the new fashions are. Tend to have a fact to Google online different fashions, and I saw a need and a requirement, here locally.
Yeah.
We needed more fashion, and we needed more men's stores and ways to purchase clothes and feel more comfortable with buying the clothes, right?
Right.
And what to wear and what colors to wear.
And a lot of times, you struggle with, what kind of suit should I get, and how will this work, et cetera. I know, you and I are talking about getting me some new suits.
Absolutely, adding some color into
it, and
yep.
All these years I've kind of been known for my orange tie, and I've been kind of moving away from wearing a tie, and so now it's like, okay, how do I get?
We live in Florida,
right? It's
yep.
a little bit warm.
Yeah,
we talked about this actually at an outdoor event, and I'm sitting there in my suit and tie and going, how do I get orange in my outfit without kind of overdoing it? And so that's been a fun conversation. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and doing that. By the time we release this video, we will have already met.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. We might even have the suits done by then. I'm really looking forward to that. And the cool part about it is having the conversation with you about how that will present my own personal brand, but the brand of Rock Paper Simple as well. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, and I appreciate that. And kind of the cool thing from your personal brand going on with this is that's creating conversations with people about something that is interesting and fun that you're passionate about that can lead to other things and lead to that networking side of things. So it's just a good example of personal branding on your side. Yeah. Of kind of saying, hey, I'm positioning myself with this. So
yeah, I mean, in a few examples, I mean, we've been out, networking, and I've noticed your brand with your orange lapel pin that you have, and I'm like, I need to get one of those, with some money on it, or because I take a sport coat, I put money on the inside, or in the pocket square pocket, to try to strike up conversation.
So Brian, how do you feel that fashion impacts the perception of a brand, right? The personal brand that we're presenting, whether that's ourselves or our company.
First impression happens in seconds. So that develops a brand instantly. We come up with our opinions about you as the person and you as the company that you be dealing with.
It does, and there's a recognition that happens very quickly, right? And you and I talked a bit about how people feel. Tell me a little bit about how you look at that in terms of how it makes the person wearing the clothes feel, but also how it makes those who are coming into contact with them feel, right? Because you talked about that first impression being so important. You don't get another chance at a first impression.
Right.
So talk a little bit about how you see that impact and why you think it's important.
Well, I think the way you feel, I mean, clothes is like a second skin to you. So when you get up in the morning, you don't want to be stressed trying to figure out what to wear. But, everybody's thinking about the weather, what kind of meetings that they're going to have. They should be thinking about the color of the clothes they're wearing, because all that's going to impact that first impression and impact your brand. If I'm sitting here today and I'm, my clothes don't fit, my fabrics are tight, then I'm not going to have the mobility. I'm not going to feel confident to have this conversation with you. You're going to be able to see my body language and see how it's affecting me. So ultimately, that's going to affect the brand of my company.
And I think how people perceive you has a lot to do with that brand image, right?
Absolutely.
What are you trying to communicate? What do they associate with that brand? And we do it with businesses all the time, where we're branding the colors and the typography, the font and the imageries, and all
it's
of that.
consistency. You want to have consistency in your brand as well. So, and I notice, when I see you out, Joshua, I mean, you're very consistent with, gray as your company color, and the orange lapel.
For a long time, I wore the orange tie everywhere, right? I've gotten known for that orange tie. It's actually funny. I more often than not don't wear it now.
But, Joshua, I mean, we live in Florida. It's warm most of the time. That's got to be tough to wear a tie, right? I mean, don't you?
And I have lots of colors of ties. I'll prove it to you. I have lots of, everybody's like, you only own one color of tie. I have lots of colors of ties. They're definitely all totally different. There's no common theme here.
Well, at all. At least they're not all solid. You at least have some texture, some pattern in your brand.
People ask, do you have any other color tie? I'm like, well, there's other colors in there a little bit. So this is proof. There's some other colors in there.
Yep.
I realize it actually proves me wrong. But
well, you're probably the same person that has actually, a brown belt or a black belt. Well, right, I mean, I think you should really add some additional texture, some additional color into your life, which will help build the brand, strike up additional conversation.
I love the orange belt. You even talked earlier about maybe doing a different stitching on it, or a different color.
Bespoke, just like Spitzer, Bespoke Clothier.
Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about some of the ideas that you can do with something like that, right? So here I am saying, hey, for years and years and years, I've known for the orange tie. Right. I've worn the full suit, the orange tie. I've gotten a little more relaxed with that. I tend to not wear the tie. A lot of times I'll mix in the jeans instead of a full suit. I still like my blazer. I like my gray blazers, etc. What are some other ideas in terms of how I can get my orange into the brand, how I can do that without being overkill, without showing up with orange glasses and orange shoes and over the top? What are some cool ideas that you would have to say?
I got some awesome ideas for you and your brand. So, I've worn a few of them here today, right? So we've got blue buttons on a shirt. You've got white buttons on your shirt, or ivory buttons,
they should
right?
be orange, huh?
So we can make them orange.
Nice.
There's also the idea of to take just like this belt with the pick stitching or the top stitch, like the blue in this belt. We can do that on your jacket, so we can run that all around your jacket.
Coming up the very, very nice.
As well. We can do it right here on the label lapel right here. We can do that. Your last buttonhole in your jacket. Just to put enough color in. You don't want it to be super orange, right?
Right. That's a lot of fun. And you had even suggested doing something fun with like the inside of the jacket. I think you've got the money in there for the mortgage money man, right?
Being a licensed loan originator with Shelter Mortgage, I've got the money in there. The realtors and my clients love that as well. I'm showing up with the money at closing on time.
Right.
We can also, put your logo in here, rock, paper, simple inside. And, you can kind of show that off or pull it up here instead of a pocket square. This will be your pocket square,
And I think what you're going for, these are fun ideas. And the idea is when the people see that, they instantly connect with it, or they recognize it, or they see a difference, right? And you talk about brands and why they're important. Brands are, what we live and die by here, right? A lot of, you've talked before about your love of fashion actually being a great conversation point, right? At networking events, et cetera. So often we get to these networking events and we get sucked into the same conversations and the same.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah.
And so I think that gives you something to kind of talk about for people to recognize you as that isn't just that. So branding, obviously it relates to fashion, relates to how we present ourselves, but also relates to, from a presentation standpoint, what we talk about and how we present.
Nobody wants to be sold to, right? So, ever since starting, the Spencer Bespoke Clothier, as I go out, I'm wearing, different jackets, different textures, different colors, different linings, different stitching. And, people are asking me, just like you did, at one of our last events, hey, I like your jacket. And then it's just a conversation piece of, hey, I do this. This is my business. This is my brand. This is how we could change your look, your business, and your brand. And then you take that and you say, well, how do I quantify changing a button or two or a belt or a stitching to generating additional business or additional conversations? Because that's what we're looking for. Every time we go out, when you're building a brand, it's really one person at a time. So we're trying to get that additional conversation, that additional appointment. And if you can do that with color or fashion, that's a huge win, right?
So Brian, let's talk a little bit about the psychology of fashion, right? So how does fashion affect our psychology?
Well, what it does is it really, it changes your whole body language. It's also the association of your mind of how clothes make you feel. First off, like when I got up this morning with the green jacket, and I'm driving, I'm thinking, this is kind of the springtime here, and the Masters, and maybe I just made that putt to win the Masters, and I get the green jacket. So it gave me that exude of confidence to come in today.
Yeah, clothes change how you feel, right? They change
Absolutely.
how you feel, and they change how others feel. And
I think it affects your bloodstream. I mean,
right,
it's just the clothes, and the fabrics and the stretchability. I mean,
well, I think it's not even just how you look. Like you said, it's how you feel. Are the clothes comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel good in them? There's a marked difference when clothes don't fit you and when they fit you. And it's not just how they look, it's how you feel in them, right? And I'm reminded of how my wife was a teacher, elementary school teacher for 7 years. And she would go into teach the kids every day in a lab coat. That was her thing, and it was like a personal brand, right? The kids recognized it, and it was a cool, fun thing, but it changed how she felt. And it changed how the students felt and how they interacted with her.
Perceived her, right.
And there was just a definite thing. That was her thing. That was her secret sauce.
Well, wearing that, if it's like a doctor or scientist coat, she became the expert. She had a very good attention to detail. And, Joshua, there was a study done at Columbia University where they did that. They took 50 people. They used two different lab coats. One, they said, this is like a doctor's lab coat or scientist. And the other one was like, this is a painter's smock. And the performance out of the 50 people that wore the doctor's coat, they just had better attention to detail. They could solve problems better. And the painter's smock, there was no change whatsoever. So that just shows the psychology of what we're wearing. The story we tell ourselves about that determines our psychology and how we feel.
Right. So I feel it's interesting how you say that. I mean, you will instantly see somebody in a room and you kind of identify kind of their personality or the way they're presenting themselves based on that, right? Mm-hmm. You and I we were at a networking event the other day, and you even made the comment to me afterwards about a gentleman we both met. It was the first time we met him. We had never met him before. We had a decently long conversation with him. I think we spent 20 minutes talking, between the three of us, and some other people that walked up. And we both were impacted by his fashion. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I could tell, being a clothier that, he was wearing a custom garment, so he was wearing a custom suit. You could tell by the stitching. I could tell by the buttons. But not only that, it was just the way we were standing at a table, like a cocktail table, and just the way his body language was. He was standing taller. He wasn't wearing a tie, but he had a nice, crisp white shirt on. And, the color of it was a cool blue, like a light blue. So that gave you that warm feeling of his personality. But you could tell he had a good sense of business, that he had that. He was a leader. You
definitely got that leader presence, but you also got I'm here to casually have a conversation with you, which dedefinitely
exactly. If he would have had a tie on, and more starched up suit or a different color suit, then it would have been he's a little uptight. But his personality, and he was out to network and meet people, and he wasn't shy, and he, you could tell he felt good about himself too. He'd had a long day. This was an evening event, and he still looked good. You could tell he felt good and, still had a lot of energy.
Yeah, and I think that is something we often overlook, right? It's as you pick out your colors, you pick out how you're presenting. So I think that's something that's kind of cool about how you're approaching this this bespoke clothier thing, where you're saying, "Hey, I'm not just making you look good; I'm helping you feel better." Right? Something that we talked about before is that you really want to make lives better.
I want to change lives. I mean, I feel like I changed lives in the mortgage business.
Right.
Getting people into home ownership. So this is really changing lives to get you out of your comfort zone. Maybe a lot of times you might wear, just blue jeans, but maybe get out of your comfort zone and maybe change the color of your jeans to khaki or white or black, or now you can even get the 5-pocket pants that are like suit material, type of thing, and a lot of people love wearing black because it makes me slimmer, so maybe get out of the black scheme of color and go to a navy. And I think your clients, as you brand yourself, they see that, they feel that, the color on you and your fashion. And just like we were saying about the other business gentleman is, it makes it more inviting to chat with you, to talk to you and show your personality a little bit better.
It does. And the color has a psychology to it too, right?
Oh,
Different
huge.
colors will make you feel certain things, right? We chose orange for our primary color.
And I see it all over the office. I mean, there's orange everywhere,
And
but that's high energy. That's energy. It makes you feel good. It's sociable, all that I see in your team and your company as well. So,
and that was purposeful, right? We said we want a high energy color, a fun color. We have a lot of humor in our brain. So there was that energy that we wanted to go with it that goes really well. You counter it with some grays and kind of, even.
But it's a nice energy. It's not a red. I mean, orange still gives you that pop of energy. A lot of athletes wear orange as well in working out, performance. Me being a golfer, wearing the Masters green jacket. You see like Ricky Fowler. He's built a huge brand with Puma Athletics, and he wears orange every Sunday. So that obviously makes him feel better. Shows his presence on the golf course. And one of the most highly recognizable golfers of all time, Tiger Woods. His mother taught him to wear red, as a power color and black pants. And not only did it probably make him feel good when he got up in the morning on the driving range, but it also showed a power to his competition out on the golf course that, hey, I'm going to win this week.
Right. Well, and it begins to be recognizable. You don't even have to see the person's face; you know who they are, right?
Right.
And so that was kind of that was how I got my branding start in terms of positioning my personal brand with the orange tie. And as I began to figure out other ways of doing that, but people saw the orange tie, they knew who I was.
But you got to have some neutral to it too. So you utilize gray to neutralize the orange. If you went all orange, we'd call you the big orange squeeze or something. Right? I mean, you wouldn't be professional like you're presenting as your brand and your company. Professional, attention to detail, but still more outgoing with the orange.
Right. So I think bottom line, how we present ourselves has a psychology. People will react based upon what we wear and how we present.
Absolutely. And they decide that in seconds when they meet you.
So what do you feel the benefits are of having the suit be custom, to have it approach from a bespoke approach?
If you're going to buy off the rack, right? You go down to the store, order online. Most people don't fit just in a standard size, so they're going to have it tailored. They're going to need a good local tailor to be able to, take it in, take it out, shorten the sleeves type of thing. So going with a bespoke clothier, what we're going to do is we're going to meet with you. You can either meet in our office or we'll come right to you. And we're going to take measurements, about 18 different measurements, so that we're actually going to mold the clothes to your fit and the way you like to have it fit. So if you like your shirt untucked, we can determine the size or how the length of the shirt. We're going to pick the fabrics that, look good on you, feel good on you type of thing. And then we can customize those to your liking. We also, custom fit clothes. They have room in them and give in them so that, as we put on weight, as we lose weight, a good tailor can come in, take it out for you. So those clothes are going to last a lot longer than going to, a mass produced clothing store per se.
You can also be more creative with it, right?
You can definitely be more creative.
Some of the things that you've mentioned before. Tell me a little bit about what are some creative things you can do when you go get it custom versus getting it off the shelf.
Well, one thing is you can pick the fabrics. We've got all kinds of fabric books where you can pick linen. You can pick 4-way stretch. I've got 4-way stretch pants. We can pick the different color buttons. We can do what we call top stitch, where we can take a thread and we can run it up the jacket, run it up the shirt, wherever you have stitching that would be
in
like
different colors,
would be like the same color. We can customize those. So we could put it orange, and this shirt I could go light blue. We can do all kinds of things with linings. In this one I've got money, but we can do anything from taking a picture of your sweetheart and doing a DIY lining and put it in there, a big picture of you and your wife on your wedding day. We can do logos inside the jacket. We can customize different color, lapels, buttonholes, pick your different buttons that you'd like to have on the jacket. So it becomes fun. It becomes creative, shows that this is not, off the rack. You can go, notch lapel, there's peak lapels. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff. But I think the big thing is, one thing a lot of people don't like to shop, or the sourcing of those materials or clothes in your local market is a little tougher to get to, right?
And I think intimidating, right? People are like, where do I even start? What questions to ask? And frankly, especially once I mentioned to some people that I was going to be working with you to get some stuff, there was what does that cost? Like there was some like fear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We get that all the time.
And and I think it was surprising to some people. Like, no, I actually think it's not as bad.
We don't have all the overhead as the malls and the big stores, and we're not doing all the advertising, and so. This is not my full-time job,
right?
Joshua.
Right.
Remember, I'm the mortgage money man,
right?
Shelter Mortgage,
which is your primary business, right? It's nothing you don't want to lose sight of, but I think it's worth encouraging people to look into it, find out, ask the questions. I was pleasantly surprised because at one point I was like, I can't possibly afford custom stuff. There's no way. I'm not even thinking about it. And you and I just had a chat. And I'm like, tell me where I'm at. And
it's less money because I've set up distribution through a major manufacturing facility. To do this. So, you're cutting out all that,
right.
that middleman, as they say, right? We're sourcing, much better to, give you a better price.
Right. So I think, looking at what are the benefits, I mean, you've got a better fit, you've got a more custom piece in terms of this will look and feel like you, right? And your brand, You can do some creative, fun things. The process is fun. Right.
Well, it's also, you're going to do a consultation on your wardrobe. So, we're going to be asking, what kind of events do you have coming up? Do you have a wedding coming up? Do you have a fundraiser event? Are you going on a sweetheart date with your wife or your girlfriend? Different types of things that you may need. And then we're going to say, well, what do you have in your closet as far as suit colors or shirt colors? So we want to spice it up. And then maybe, you're all gray. And I say, well, maybe we need to put some color, maybe check out a different pattern. And you might not feel comfortable with that, but after, having some conversation, and you're more open to try different
it gives you the opportunity to talk people into some things and let them be a little more adventurous.
Well, I don't want to talk them into it, but
encourage, right? But I think there's that aspect of saying, hey, no, I think you'd look good in that, and sometimes we're afraid to make that step because we're not really sure. So I think there's that element of benefit.
And most people don't do the research that I do as far as, looking at the styles, looking at the trends. They're so focused in their business, and I can say, this is what's trending. This is what would look good, type of thing. Then the other thing is you're like, well, I don't have the time to do all that, Brian. I know you want to meet with me for an hour or whatever. Well, once we dial you in with measurements, now, Joshua, you call me and you say, hey, I got this event coming up. I need a tuxedo dinner jacket. So now we can do a lot of the stuff even online, or take video pictures of fabrics and help design it for you. And you don't even have to meet. It comes in 3 weeks and delivered right to you.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that has really helped me understand a little bit more of, it's a lot more accessible than I think I originally expected or thought.
Right.
So I've learned quite a bit chatting with you.
It's not for the super wealthy anymore, right? It used to be you go to a department store, have a personal stylist, and they take you to the back room, and you thought it was like super designer, super marked up, right? But it's not that. I mean, you can have style without having, everything being marked up.
Very cool. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Industry Insights. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe, comment, or even drop us a line over at rockpapersimple.com.